Okay, how about some transmutation now? So snow is and ice and packed ice. You can see they're all going to turn, and you can see the new chapter is called Constellation, by the way, and they're all going to turn into water, whereas netherrack and magma blocks are going to turn to lava. You can see that netherrack is a very short-lasting burst, but if you obviously have a lot of netherrack, it's going to turn to lava pretty quickly. Okay, one thing to mention is those transmutations are locked, so you wouldn't be able to do them at earlier stages. Okay. There's also some starlight crafting all specific. Okay, so if we put sand here, sandstone, nether wart, and magma blocks, the transmutation effect will occur, with the results being clay, endstone, soul sand, and obsidian. We place netherrack, pumpkin, sea lantern, and diamond ore. The results will be nether brick, cake, lapis, and the diamond ore takes the longest out of all of them. It turns into emerald. And I will also point out, netherrack was very quick, lapis was a lot slower, the magma block was also very slow. Okay, it seems pretty close to having a bucket, and I only put this in a few seconds ago. Once I put the light from the crystal, and you can see I've already got a bucket from it, so that's pretty quick. Okay, so before we move on to Celestial Altar, let's just talk about the lenses. So I've got the crystal, it's going down to all these lenses. I've got the lenses, they're shooting out to here, it's going back up, and it's actually coming out right about over here. This was a separate line I was doing to try to see if I could have multiple inputs. But you see, once I've got this Vicio crystal on there at the moment, and you can see it's kind of shaking, it's what it's trying to say is that it's getting to the point where it's a bit difficult for it to cope, because it's too powerful for the level that I'm actually at. Now, what you'll notice is there are sort of certain beams of light that are like emanating. So say there's like one. Trying to work out where this one is. Let's see. So you can say it seems to be going about here, doesn't it? So if then I take the linking tool, right click here, and then you can see I can reflect it back, right? And what that'll do is it'll increase the power, and then you can see there's another beam, and I can continue this, you know, and do it multiple times. So yeah, let's move back to the Celestial Altar now. So I'm kind of curious now to think about it, about how far I can actually push this. So this is going right here, isn't it? So let's put that one there. And let's put that one back. Okay, are there any additional beams that are coming across? I think that's perhaps... Oh no, there is another beam coming here. So the thing about these beams, right, is you have to make sure you get it right on the edge of the beam. So I'm going to want to, so for instance, what I would need to do is put it like here, I think. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to block it, obviously. Okay. So you can see then we're going to expand that a bit more. And then we've got an additional beam coming out here. So let's see what happens if we put one on here. That should be about... Charge it up. Okay, so there's an... Is there an additional beam? I'm trying to see if there's actually any additional beams at this point. Oh yeah, there is that one there, yeah. Okay, we won't worry about this section. Okay, and recall that sometimes stuff doesn't update in the way you might think. Like, for instance, I'm pretty sure I blocked the path of this beam, but it just didn't update. But I don't want to be in the position where it does update. Okay. So you can actually push. I think Vicio is a simpler one to push, perhaps. Okay, let's have a look. How are we doing? Okay, it looks like there's actually. Are there any more beams? So I think maybe there's a limit to how many you can actually put. I think there was there a little bit of a. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is just a particle effect I'm getting, or if there's actually, because I'm sort of trying to see if it's sort of struggling or anything, or that'd be the feeling I get, because it's like I said, it's just a regular crystal. There's certainly, I think there are more particle effects. Perhaps there were. Okay, we do have another. Is there another beam? I don't think there actually is another beam. So it looks like there's maybe a limit to the amount of beams. There's definitely some sort of lightning sort of particle effects I'm seeing there. They're kind of occasional, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, I've made the structure now for the celestial altar. I've increased the number, and I could have done this earlier actually, but I've increased the number of spectral relays to 4. I put them in sort of the corners like that, and we've got a full celestial altar. Okay, let's get back on to the kind of. I don't know if I can reach this one. Let's see, hopefully I have. And let's hope. There we go, Mineralis. Okay, looks like we've got another minor constellation. I'm trying to find the major ones actually, but maybe we'll get the minor ones. This is one of the simpler ones. Octans. Okay, funnily enough, same night we've managed to find a few more actually. So let's see if I can remember this. This is obviously Amara. And a bit like that, and go. There we go. Okay, interestingly enough, like a lot of these ones are actually coming through at like at times I might not. I don't know. It's kind of weird to be honest. It's kind of weird. The Amara and Avorcio, which I've been looking for ages, they both come on exactly the same night. So there's obviously something to that. Yeah. Okay, so now what I want to do is I've got an Avorcio crystal. We'll talk more about Avorcio and some of the new stuff. We've got like Mineralis and Amara. And you can see once we throw the rock crystal in with some stardust, you can see that something is occurring. So let's wait for the. It's similar to, because of course with the rock crystal, original rock crystal, if you throw it in, the size increase. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so what we get is this this kind of small celestial crystal structure, crystal cluster rather. What we need to do then is we need to wait for it to grow, and when it does finish growing, it will look like this. And when we break this, you're going to get a celestial crystal. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to put, well, this is the structure, right? It's got some liquid starlight. We need to put a collector crystal on top of here. In order to do that, though, we're going to need to turn the celestial crystal into a collector crystal. Okay, so in order to do that, what we're going to need to do is have resonating gems, because they're part of the crafting recipes for many of the higher tier things. So we need to get starlight infusion on the go. So we will get this device, and what this will be able to do is we'll be able to turn these new celestial crystals into collector crystals, but it'll also be able to turn regular rock crystals into collector crystals as well. But you will require these resonating gems. So, and that's the main function to convert the aquamarine. So yeah, so this thing, the starlight infuser, also requires a multi-block there. Okay, so what you do is you build this structure, and then your resonating gem will become. Your aquamarine will become a resonating gem. Okay, so now we can get the crystal we want. We've got this attuned crystal. It has to be an attuned crystal, and you can see we're going to be able to get this collector crystal. And what this will do is it will be able to actually be a source, because we've only really seen the floating crystal in the ruin structure, right? That's the only thing that's actually been like a source of light. This, once you get this crystal, what you'll be able to do is you won't need to go back at all to the ruin structure. And there we go. So we get a celestial collector crystals that is collect starlight from Evorsio. Okay, I just want to talk about the moon phase actually for a moment. Here we have Mineralis, right? Now let's see what happens if I do this. So it works in this phase. There. But in certain moon phases, you see, it's not working now. So it's interesting. So this will actually only work during the certain phases of the moon. Okay, I really need to. I made so you can see that for about half of it, it doesn't actually work. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, but that wasn't actually what I wanted to show. I've got a celestial crystal here, right? So we're going to attune it to Mineralis. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to place this crystal up here. And one thing I've noticed, you can see it starts to infuse from the liquid starlight. You can see it's getting some particles. If you look at it during the day, it's a bit. It doesn't seem to be going quite as fast. Let's just check that again. I think maybe it does go faster at night. Yeah. So you see more particles. Maybe they're just more visible. We'll leave that there though. So yeah, this is actually about stabilization. So if you recall, like earlier when I was doing the ritual with Viccio and doing the stuff with the lenses, the crystal was wobbling a bit. So this should really improve the stabilization. Okay, time to make something else, and this time it is this. This is a pretty cool looking thing. This is what gets you all the enchantments. It's the stellar refraction table, and you can see we get all different colours now, which is cool. And that will be relevant as we try to kind of separate out some of the colours from the spectrum. There we go. Okay, so you place 3 on the table and you get this engraved glass. So I put Avitas, Butes and Viccio in there. Can I take that out now? Okay, so I believe now I can just put a book in there maybe? Let's have a look. Yes, okay, so that's how it works. So you put in the constellations you want, and then you transfer it onto a book. And then we can take the book out, and you can see it's like that. So I get Mending 2, Silk Touch, and Feather Falling 3. Okay, it's a pretty good book. Okay, so you can actually take the engraved glass out. So yeah, just to clarify this, the Butes was Silk Touch, Awitas is Mending, and the Viccio is Feather Falling. And you can see I've got 9 durability on that piece of engraved glass. Yeah, what you do, just to clarify this, is you just put the parchment down. Then you can access the interface. You don't want the parchment in there though. As soon as you put the glass, then the interface will appear. So that's how you access it. Okay, so we've got this one coming in now. So yeah, what I might do, yeah, so wow, sharpness 4, power 4, night vision, and fortune. So maybe it's added some additional stuff to it. Okay, but what I think would probably be make sense now is if I make a list talking about some of the effects of the constellations that I've discovered so far. Okay, so another thing about the refraction table is you just use the parchment and you use the infused glass, and then you can fill up potions or armor, or as you saw with the books. I did get another 4 constellations. We've got 2 major and 2 minor here, taking the total up to 11. So there's only 1 left after this. So Amara is defense and shield. I also used the colour here. So it's interesting that they were all white apart from the orange one, which is also quite close to white. So I think there's going to be more of these colour elements coming in. So yeah, Amari's defense and shield. So the ritual is a force field, knocking back projectiles and mobs. One more thing is I'm going to focus on all the perks as well, like a bit later. So the force field, knocking back projectiles on mob, refraction tables, protection. So yeah, protection for yeah. So basically just knockback and protection in terms of the ritual. There, Evorcia's destruction, disintegrates and solid blocks, and haste and efficiency for your tools and potions. Mineralis is mineral, stone changing. To create minerals when there were none. Luck and potion. Fortune. I think it's fortune on the pickaxe. That one. Octane is fishing, and yeah, it will track fish in nearby water blocks in the ritual. And respiration potion and water breathing for helmets and potions respectively. Okay, here's an interesting thing. It's like the tree beacon. So you make it with liquid starlight and it turns everything into a sort of an astral tree. So that's pretty cool. I built another one of these because I forgot to use the resonating wand. Always use the resonating wand. There's actually quite a lot of recipes in here though, and actually it may be useful to have more than one. So we put bones in here. You're actually going to get bone meal out of that. More interesting though perhaps is the fact that if you have diamond ore, it's actually going to triple your yield. So there's various recipes, and you can see we've got the bone meal here. And the diamond. Oh yeah, actually yeah, it triples your 1 second. No, that is correct actually. It's 4 for diamond. Okay, you always have to make sure this thing is full, by the way. Because it's obviously using some, so we've got one missing there. So once we do that, we can actually activate that one. So it's going to be, and you can see there's going to be a bucket missing here as well, somewhere. There we go. So you can see for the iron, we get 3. Emerald is going to be 4. For emeralds, lapis, and we've also got glass. There's quite a few recipes actually for this thing, but you do always have to make sure that it's full up before you activate. So yeah, I mean it's actually not necessarily a bad thing I made 2 of these things. Redstone. So yeah, so. Glass becomes ice, which is pretty interesting one. You get a block of lapis, so that's 9. Same for redstone. Yeah, so if we look at what we've got here, this is essentially I didn't quite realise it before, but it's basically a tree farm. I've got 0 logs at the moment. And I was just standing there doing what you just saw. And you can see there's still, yeah, there's not, there's not 6 high. This thing, there's still logs in there. So yeah, it's just growing them and harvesting them. Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, maybe it is. Pretty interesting. I think it is. That is what this is about. Is to be a tree farm, though. I'll come back in a moment because there's a couple more things that I want to show. Okay, let's try putting the sword in now. So one other thing you can do as well with this structure is you can actually infuse your crystal tools. So this was just a regular 8.5. Maybe that was my one. Let's see what we get anyway with it. So you can see now we've got an infused crystal sword, which has doubled the attack. So it's become a much more powerful sword. And of course that works the same with all the different tools. And you can also get these flares. I've seen them in various stages. They seem to pop up all over the place, even earlier in the game. Okay, there's also this thing, the illumination one. So one of the things you can do is you can actually change it to a blue one, for instance. So we right click. It creates much the same as the illumination powder. Now if we hold right click, oh no, sorry, you have to hold shift right click. You can see what happens is something kind of. Okay, so you can see what I've done there. Is it's turned it light, but it's also made it impossible to break, I believe. Yeah, so it's a bit like warding. So that's pretty interesting, actually. Let's try that again. Okay, you just shift right click. Very simple. That's pretty cool, actually. And all the light will actually come straight through. So yeah, so it creates a transparent, unbreakable block.